And we are live, coming from a couple of remote locations. It looks like Atlas Novak, you're in hiding, actually. And I'm coming from the great, which is a stretch of the word, Cleveland, Ohio, and this is Last Minute History. How are you doing, Atlas?
I'm good. You? I mean, I'm not in hiding. I'm in a shitty like motel, for a work thing, which like I don't know. The last time, when I went up to Cleveland to do shows with you and Dino and all them, there's something weird about just being in a hotel with nowhere to be for a few hours. Like my thing
Right.
isn't until tomorrow, so I'm just kind of here. And I really wish I was getting wasted right now, but I'm not. But that's what we're talking about, apparently.
Why aren't you getting wasted?
That's a good question. Maybe I should go take a walk down to the hotel bar if there is one. Does it Comfort Inn have a hotel bar?
You should have came down. You should have came to the show drunk, man.
Yeah. Could have been.
Oh, I'm just now finding out that evidently you need a premium account to go live on X now.
Yeah.
No. I'm so sick of Elon Musk, man.
Me too.
I'm so sick of that guy.
Yeah, we were doing it for a few months, and then all of a sudden they're like, you need to pay for a blue check. I'm like, you can.
I'm okay. I'm good.
Suck my nipples. I am out.
Right. Yeah, that's taking capitalism a bit too far, don't you think?
Yes.
I didn't mean for this to turn into like a Elon Musk bashing show, but he pissed me off in real time. So
it's completely based in my book. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I knew you'd understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're actually talking about cocktails and mixology and the history of the mixed drink, if you will.
Yes. So, if you might remember from our Mesopotamia episodes, we had a brief thing about early alcohol and like the history of beer. Extra History's done a series on the history of beer. This is the great, however many times I need to say great grandchild of beer.
It's several thousand years later because like I'm a licensed mixologist, which is why I was like so interested in doing this concept for an episode in the first place. They don't really teach you history in mixology class. I mean, I think by the time that you get to like a bartending school, like they're like, we know you don't know anything about history or science or math.
You wouldn't be here if that was the case.
Just give us like $600 and we're going to show you how to mix some drinks.
So like, is a mixologist, like a licensed mixologist, different from just going to bartending school? Is it like its own thing, or what's
a mixology license usually is like a branch of bartending. You can go to bartending school and learn how to be a really good bartender. I took both. I paid $300 for bartending, and I took paid the other $300 for the mixology course on it. So just like in unison.
Okay.
So it was like 2 hours a week instead of one.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually need the bartending class to take the mixology class. So
so it's like the bartending equivalent of getting your master's.
Essentially, yes, or the bachelor's, because the first one or the other one's the associate's. You know what I mean?
Okay,
So,
all right. Yeah, bartending school is community college.
By
this
no
is your
means.
bachelor's, yeah.
Because it's like a 6-week course, both of them each.
Yeah.
So and I just took them in unison. So that's my bird going off over there. My bird's laughing at my.
They let you take both at the same time?
Yeah, because it's like they don't take it that serious. They just want their money.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
guess that makes sense. Like in college, they would get mad at you if you tried to take upper div courses early. They're like, you don't have the credits for that yet. And I'm like, look,
we got to think about it. The people running the bartending school are just a bunch of bartenders. You know what I mean? It's kind of a scam, really. Like, yeah. I mean, they'll hook you up and take you. They're like, hey, go over here. Once you get your courses done, they're like, hey, go talk to those people. They're hiring. And then because they know the people at the bartending school because probably somebody who teaches there probably worked there, or they know somebody, or blah blah blah. They'll give you they'll consider you before they consider anybody else. You know what I mean? So,
That reminds me more of like when you take an acting class, and then like the person who teaches the class has connections, and
it's kind of like that, yeah.
yeah,
It's
okay,
just
that makes sense.
less cool, I think.
Yes,
So,
way less cool.
yeah. But so yeah, mixology is like, so bartending is like, you learn how to serve a certain drink and what cup to put everything in, and like customer service, and like what to do if there's like a glass break or something like that, and how to properly identify identifications and fake identifications, and whether or not somebody's too drunk to be served. And the whole what happens if the police do come, and like just different stuff. There's so many scenarios that you take, and then mixology is just straight up just like how to like what mixed drink is what, and you name this, and you gotta like do it in a certain amount of time, like because there's a time test. And then like how to like eyeball your pores and stuff like that. What else? There's they teach you a couple of tricks, like party tricks essentially, so that you can get more tips and stuff like that. So
nice.
It's a fun little bit. It's kind of like it turns into fun. When you first start, or at least in my case, when I first started, it was like kind of one of these things where like, first off, there's a bunch of felons there. There's a bunch of like ex-addicts, maybe some current addicts, and I don't know anybody. And then the bartender is like, he just knows whatever the fuck he's talking about, right? And so he's just obviously he's fucking a pro. And so it's a little intimidating, but by the end of it, you have a lot of cool friends that like you probably would have never hung out with in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, know a lot of cool tricks, you got a cool story, so I had fun, so.
You want to be friends with a felon? Go to bartending school.
Right.
Or, even better, you want to be friends with a felon? Go to the RNC.
If you are a felon or looking for a job, either run for president or go to bartending school.
There you go, yeah. So, this being a history podcast, this is the history of mixology.
Right. So, let's just jump right into it. So, a cocktail is a mixed drink, usually alcoholic. I think the cocktail is actually the category of a drink, and then the mixed drink is like the branch. But overall, this is kind of really all I could find. It was really hard to find the history of mixed drinks specifically.
Okay.
But most commonly, a cocktail is a combination of one or more spirits mixed with other ingredients such as juices, flavored syrups, tonic water, shrubs, and bitters. Cocktails vary widely across regions of the world, and many websites publish both original recipes and their own interpretations of older and more famous cocktails. The origin of the word cocktail have been debated. The first written mention of a cocktail as a beverage appeared as in the Farmer's Cabinet, and for reference, I actually have a picture. The Farmer's
Cabinet. Wow, 1836 to 1837, devoted to agriculture, horticulture, and rural economy. Wow.
Yeah, so that's I guess it was kind of a farmer's thing. And more than likely, they're of the opinion that the first cocktail was more of like a medicinal thing. After, I mean, honestly, it's kind of like what you most like blue collar workers treat beer now, or after a long day outside getting your ass beat by the job. You want to kick back to something to drink. Only difference is now you're considered a degenerate. Back then, it was considered medicinal.
Right. Yeah, like you do.
Right. So, most people smoke weed for that now. So
that's so funny to me that's like the like instead of like I need to give me a beer, I've had a bad day, like give me a hit of that.
Or eat an edible or something.
Yeah, no, like my in-laws, who are very like kind of, you know, center right, like just kind of Reagan-ish people.
Oh, so
They
like say no to drugs and whatnot.
yeah, say no to drugs and whatnot, but they do weed because now it's legal. They're just like, yeah, it's just what you
I
do.
think you can't really hate on that. I guess
No,
if
I
it's
can't.
illegal, it's illegal. I won't do it. Okay, fine. You're a card
Yeah,
carrying
no,
member of
good for
society,
them.
I guess.
Like
Yeah.
it's understandable, but it's just funny to me that like they're not against the drug in general. They're
Right.
against the illegality of the drug. So I'm sure there are other people like that where they're just like, I would do mushrooms if it was legal. I would take acid at the end
Right.
of a long day, hallucinate wildly.
It, to me, it's just it's like I don't really care about illegality. I care about more of like the moral thing because there's things that were legal and things that weren't illegal or that were legal that really never should have been, all
Yeah,
over the world, always, you know what I mean? So, like,
yeah,
legality has never bothered me.
yeah, exactly. Alcohol used to be illegal in the
Right.
U.S.
Which we're going to get to that, actually, as a
Okay,
matter of
all right,
fact.
cool.
So, that's a big part of what we're going to go through.
Prohibition,
So,
sweet.
um, so in 1862, Jerry Thomas published a bartender's guide called How to Mix Drinks, or the Bon Vivant's Companion, which included 10 cocktail recipes using bitters to differentiate from other drinks such as punches and cobblers. So this is when it became kind of like mainstream. It was like 1862, right in the middle of the Civil War.
Okay.
They were like, let's start mixing our fucking liquor because like there's about to be a battle outside.
Well, there's that, or just like you probably don't have as much access to one kind of booze.
Right.
So
yeah.
you like that's how I'm sorry if I like steal your thunder here, but my brother-in-law won't shut the hell up. Kyle, if you're watching, I got this from you. You're welcome. But apparently the reason the hurricane came to be in New Orleans was when like after Prohibition, whiskey was really expensive, but rum was super cheap. So bars that like whiskey suppliers will be like, I'll sell you this barrel of whiskey, but you got to buy these 2 barrels of rum with it. So bars would then have to make use of the rum, and then that's where the hurricane came about.
Well, yeah, because rum is made from sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes less time to make. Where whiskey takes like a year to make the process thoroughly. So that's kind of why I'm a big whiskey guy. There's my mom right there. We just talked about the hurricane from New Orleans.
Yeah.
No, the drink.
The drink. My brother-in-law was. My brother-in-law.
We're getting there.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So.
Oh, you're cool.
So you guys did something on New Orleans, and of course I fucking missed it.
Because you guys are not watching.
For a walk.
That's your fault.
Because she sits in your room. So
I
you're
know.
welcome.
So maybe go.
So maybe wait for your mom to get back.
This is why you don't have dogs.
Don't complain in the chat like everybody else.
You are why people shouldn't have kids.
Me or him? Okay, sorry.
She just doesn't have a sense of humor, is all.
Aesthetic stream. Alcohol! Yes, sorry, alcohol. Yeah, so in the middle of the Civil War, they probably had to make use of whatever was around, right?
Right. Did you ask me for a pair of headphones? Is it loud in here? I just saw this private chat. Is it loud in my room?
Oh, no. That was when you were trying to figure it out. Like, you did it without me.
Oh, okay. I just now saw the private chat. My bad.
No, it's okay.
Anyway, Mom, shut up. Where was it? Cocktails continued to evolve and gain popularity throughout the early 1900s, with the term eventually expanding to cover all mixed drinks. In 1917, the term cocktail party was coined by Julius S. Walsh Jr. of St. Louis, Missouri. With wine and beer being less available during Prohibition in the United States from 1920 to 1933, to be exact, liquor-based cocktails became more popular due to accessibility, followed by a decline in popularity during the late 1960s. So that was the big thing with in Prohibition. What I found was, again, this is so small, so I had to do a bunch of cross research. During Prohibition, it was harder to make things like whiskey and what was there was another one. Specifically whiskey. I know for a fact. So they, like you said, they went to rums, and a big one was gin and tonic. So this is kind of where the martini actually became a big thing. Gin and tonic and the martini. Gin and tonic typically for the men, and the martini for the women. For people of class during Prohibition, people still drank much in there, but gin was easier to make. But since it tasted like shit, as gin does, it tastes like fucking cologne. Yeah. They learned to mix it with bitters and tonics and things like that.
What are bitters exactly? Like I know they taste bitter, but like what are they made of?
So I forget. They told me that in bartending school, but I don't remember. I've never been asked to make a martini for anybody. So.
And how long was I bartending? So like,
how about you?
Grateful that I'm trying to help you out.
Well, go back and comment on something. So a bitters is traditionally an alcoholic preparation flavored with botanical matter for a bitter or bittersweet flavor. Originally, numerous long-standing brands of bitters were developed as patent medicines, but are now sold as digestives, sometimes with herbal properties, and as cocktail flavoring. Let's see, what ingredients?
Okay.
It's they're made from Chinese cinnamon, gentian, orange peel, and cinchona bark. I don't know what any of that is.
Well, the orange peel is what I normally associate with when I hear bitters, because like whatever, I think it's like an old fashioned where you got the like swirly orange peel.
Right.
On the bottom.
I've made plenty of those. Yeah. Old fashions are real popular. Ironically enough, amongst like young people, like people who are like in their 20s, they're like mid 20s, and they're trying to like act like they're like the shit, And I'm gonna get an old fashioned. It's like, dude, just order a fucking highball, dude.
Yeah, no, that's because it's got like that Mad Men aesthetic to it,
Right.
And I don't know.
Like
whenever I think
sugar and oranges and whiskey, like this don't taste good. You really want this?
No, it seems like for a long time, at least for guys, the idea of drinking, it's not supposed to taste good. It's supposed to get you drunk. Like that's all you care about.
Right. Exactly.
But when I go to bars, I don't know, I like it to taste good. Like Hurricanes taste, yummy in my tummy or whatever, and they, they'll get you completely blitzed.
We'll have a good Long Island iced tea.
Long Island iced teas will sneak in and get you too.
That's like, you go from like this is pretty good to I'm invincible within like 20 minutes. My cat is my bird is laughing her ass off at me right now. So the cocktail party, real quick. I wanted to jump on that real quick. So the first cocktail party was in May 1917. Credited its invention to Mrs. Julius S. Walsh Jr. I don't know why she's a junior if she's a woman. That's not a common concept, but whatever.
Trans icon? I don't know.
Right. Because Julius can be a man's name too, but this is Mrs. Mrs. Walsh invited 50 guests to her house on a Sunday at high noon for 1 hour. The party scored an instant hit, the newspapers declared, stating that within weeks, cocktail parties had become a St. Louis institution. So the first cocktail party, having a party with drinks, mixed drinks, with all your friends, started in the middle of America, about 100 years ago.
Congratulations, St. Louis. You're known for something other than the Arch and the Zoo. Good job.
And like horrible, horrible crime.
That's so messed up.
Right. So, like, after Prohibition ended, though, the mixed drink kind of died off for a bit.
Okay.
because once we kind of moved into the 40s, people weren't drinking as much just because it wasn't really a time for celebration as much.
Well, until the war was
The way
over.
the way they and in the 50s when families were kind of doing their thing, they kind of drank mostly like beers and with just like straight whiskeys. And the one thing that was real popular for women were like cosmopolitans, which is kind of where that started. That's kind of what was the only main mixed drink from the 50s through the 60s was Cosmo, which is a really good drink. It looks girly as shit, and a lot of times if you can just serve it to me in a Scotch glass, I'd be like, this is so much better this way, because I just don't want all this and then it being pink and blues and fruity and everybody's looking at me and shit. You know what I mean?
It's delicious, yeah. Who cares?
It's got a sugar rim, I think, if I remember correctly. So like the 80s is kind of where it kind of picked back up for a little bit. Because you had like people with more money and just kind of wanting to blow it and stuff until like obviously like that late 80s crash of the economy, and then it just completely died until right around the time I went to bartending school, because I went to bartending school I think in 2015, and they said like the mid 2000s it kind of just took off in this whole culture of like the bartending Olympics, where people were doing like tricks and learning how to open like beer bottles in a certain way and all that.
I remember that, like, okay, so I did a rewatch of Scrubs recently, and they have a scene around the time that you're talking about. This is like mid to late 2000s, where they're like doing bartending tricks, as like it's like a setup for a scene, which is fine, but they had that, and then also this is around the time. Do you remember the cup stacking stuff?
Oh yeah, I can do all that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what if like those probably have some sort of connection? This like speed competition for stuff you can kind of do anywhere, or like anywhere there's a counter.
What do you mean?
Like, this is like playing armchair psychologist, but I think it's just like the cup stacking competitions and the bartending, like, you know, speed mixing drinks are probably have the same DNA of I don't know.
For sure. It's just like a lot of it is just like showmanship, panache, and all that, and just trying to like be the center of attention. You know what I mean? I know for a fact that a lot of the tricks that bartenders do is specifically motivated by money, you know, because you're working for tips and whatnot.
Makes
so
sense.
I don't know where the cup competition came from, but it definitely probably spawned from, because there is like a lot of cup usage tricks in I don't even know, bartending tricks, I guess. So it like I've seen them like bartenders like stack the shot, or not the shot glass, the Scotch glasses, like almost like in a pyramid, and then like put some kind of like cylinder or on the top one, and they pour it, and it just like pours into each glass individually. That's over cool. The top. Yeah, so like it's all similar, you know.
Yeah.
You're not wrong in that. I think that's probably it, you know, because like I said, it was a pretty small history. I really thought it would go back further. I didn't know, which it does make sense, because it was like the 1800s is really where like the need for entertainment comes in, because like people are starting to not starve en masse. You know, I think the 1800s is really the beginning of modern civilization, and people not just like surviving to survive. Mm-hmm. You know, there's not massive plagues all the time, and you know, like
you have a lot bigger cities outside of just like Philadelphia, New York, and Boston. Like,
yeah, medicine and modern medicine and stuff like that was starting to grow, and you know, so like science was getting there. You know, so like the idea of mixing a drink was probably just like sounded like some dumb shit. Like somebody would be like, "You want to put two alcohols together?" And people are like, "We need medicine." No,
We just
we're
discovered
curing
gold in
wounds.
them thar hills. Watch the Gold Rush episode. We need multiple alcohols for this.
Right. The mercenaries weren't paid again, so we need the alcohol to cure the wounds.
Remember,
What is your favorite mixed drink, Alice?
my favorite mixed drink. Okay, my brother-in-law did make really good hurricanes, but I don't think I would become a hurricane person. I'm not like going to bars.
They're good. They're really sweet, which isn't really what I'm looking for necessarily.
That makes sense. I think I really like a good margarita. Something about
Margarita
the ice.
is good, man. There's nothing wrong with that. I love a good margarita.
Yeah.
I think I would probably say it's mine too. Although I like to throw a little watermelon in there, a little watermelon juice in there.
In the margarita?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's the
definitely.
first margarita.
That's why I ordered it. No.
Ms. Clayton, if you want to join the podcast, just be a guest one of the weeks. Don't be like. With all due respect, I'm sorry.
You better chill.
And you got her all riled up.
I know. That's part of the fun.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I appreciate y'all. This was fun. Alice, do you got any other comments or concerns to mention?
Well, what was your favorite mixed drink first?
Oh, mine? I want to say margarita, but I don't want to pick it because you picked it.
Well,
But I think I gotta go with the Long Island iced tea. That shit is just good. You know what I mean? Like it's just delicious, and it does. Not only is it good, it tastes good, but it does what it's designed to do. You know, which is not necessarily true of a lot of alcohol. You know, some alcohols don't get you drunk fast. You know, so.
Oh yeah, because the how sneaky it is as a drink, where you can just be. It's the unpaid mercenary of drinks, where it just comes back and gets you. I really like a spiked juice, just like a screwdriver or what?
Screwdriver. I like to put whiskey in watermelon juice. I like watermelon juice in general. But yeah, I mean, like what is it? Cranberry vodka. So any kind of spiked juice really is just alcohol with juice in it.
Yeah. Why does orange juice plus vodka equals screwdriver?
You want to know why? So this is a funny thing. I probably should have thought about this earlier. There's rules to naming alcohols, and anything that has the word sex, like any kind of sexy, sexual connotation, it has orange in it for whatever reason. I don't know why, but if it has like a sexual connotation to the name, it has some kind of orange juice, orange liqueur such as triple sec, Cointreau, blue curacao.
I'm trying to think of like other drinks with orange in them that sound sexy. Screwdriver makes sense, right?
So screwdriver, you have Sex on the Beach. You know that has Cointreau in it. A Harvey Wallbanger, which is
Is that a guy, or was that just like?
It's named after some kind of liqueur that has the name Harvey in it.
Oh, and then Wallbanger. There you go. All right,
yeah, there's a
So that's why orange drinks get why orange juice gets screwdriver and cranberry juice is just vodka cranberry.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
There's no. I would like. What is the unsexiest fruit then? I feel like if you're gonna go one way with it, go the completely opposite direction. What is the most just like libido killing fruit?
So I don't know why. I don't know all the rules, but I know that like if it has dog in the name, then it's grapefruit.
If it's dog in the name, it's grapefruit. Okay.
Yeah, the greyhound, the salty dog.
Makes sense.
So yeah, so just so you know, it has a sexual name and there's orange in it, and if it has a dog in the name, then it has grapefruit. That'll probably help you out in the future.
All
But
right, the most
I don't know all the rules. There's rules. I'm sure it's on the internet somewhere.
maybe
Or
pawpaws. You know what? Durian. Durian is the most unfuckable fruit. It's spiky. It smells awful. Yeah, just so.
banana in it. It has monkey in it. It's banana.
Oh, that makes sense though.
So it's like a
Monkeys,
screaming
bananas.
monkey is like orange liqueur and banana liqueur.
Okay.
So the screaming is sexual, I guess.
Yeah. I wonder where
Um,
Moscow Mule came from then.
so a Moscow Mule is like lime and ginger beer,
Yeah, yeah.
and it was made by like it was real popular by all the Russians stationed in Cuba during the '60s.
That makes sense.
That was kind of where it came from because they like the little copper tins or whatever. And I'm not sure if that's a Russian thing or a Cuban thing. The tins, it's probably Cuban, but they wanted their vodka in it. You know, the vodka, ginger beer, and lime. Lime's real popular in there. So the ginger beer I think was a Russian thing, and the vodka was a ginger beer might be Caribbean. I don't know. I know it was invented by the Russians who were stationed in Cuba during. You know, like the Bay of Pigs and all that shit.
Yeah,
so.
That makes sense because like that would have been when the embargo is going on, which means Cuba probably had to like, you know, all right, all you have is copper. Fuck it, we're making the cups out of that.
Right. That makes sense.
And then like Cuba also has one of the highest populations, percentages of custom cars, and that's just because like they're not getting new cars, they're embargoed, so they had to like fix up the ones they had. It's interesting that.
Talk about resourceful, right?
Yeah, that's resourceful, definitely. Dang, I'm trying to think. Like, were there any other drinks you came across like this, where like how it was invented? And
I mean, there was a lot of things that I've come across because I worked in a couple different bars and I just found this shit out over time, but nothing that comes to mind. You know, like if you could ask me directly, I could probably tell you, but that's not how my brain works. You know what I mean? Just off the top. So.
I feel like this should have just been the whole episode. The fascinating origins of your favorite cocktails. Oh, fuck you. I'm not going to disable my ad blocker.
Mezcal, maybe, but I've seen the process close up. Mezcal. I don't even know what that is.
Okay. Cosmopolitan. The true origin of the Cosmopolitan is widely disputed, but many recognize Tony Cecchini as the inventor of the drink. As the story goes, in 1988, the then 25-year-old bartender was working at the Odeon in New York City when he decided to update a drink that was popular on the West Coast that called for vodka, roses, grenadine, and lime cordial. To make it more upscale, Cecchini mixed Absolute Citron, Cointreau? Cointreau.
It's orange liqueur. It's like a fancy orange liqueur. It's basically overpriced triple sec.
Gotcha. Yeah, Absolute. Okay.
Like for the record, you can't make a true cosmopolitan with triple sec. A lot of bars do, but if you don't use Cointreau, then it's not a true cosmopolitan because it's supposed to be like a classy drink. So.
Yeah, and I know the gin and tonic was like an East India Company thing.
I didn't know that actually.
Okay, so I found it on the little website here. Was introduced by the British East India Company's military arm during the 19th century in India, where many had become infected with malaria. As a preventative measure, people drank tonic water, which is made with quinine, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, an anti-malaria medication. No one liked the bitter taste, though, so officers added gin to make it more palatable, thus the G&T was born.
You're going to add two things together that suck and try to make a good, like, and I've had a gin and tonic, and that shit still sucks.
That's the most British thing they could have done, where it's like, ew, this is terribly bitter. Why don't we get an equally bitter thing and put it together, and we will make the most British thing ever. Mary Poppins, your spoonful of sugar can go to hell. The
British, like, it's crazy that they conquered the world for, like, flavor and seasoning and whatnot, it's really not because of you taste their food. They were probably like their seamen and their sailors and whatnot were probably like, fuck this, we gotta get out of here. But then the fact that they didn't like grow and evolve as they conquered the world, you know, like
yeah. Oh, here's a fun one. The mojito. So the mojito, often touted as Ernest Hemingway's favorite alcoholic beverages, was born in Havana, Cuba, although the exact location is disputed. One story dates back to 1586 when British privateer Francis Drake sent his men ashore to acquire medicine to remedy dysentery and scurvy. We got the shits and our teeth are falling out. Go get rations. They reportedly came back with a concoction of aguardiente, a precursor to rum that literally translates to burning water, lime, sugarcane juice, and mint, which remain the cocktail's primary ingredients.
Mojitos are good. Have you had one?
Mojitos, yeah.
Just lime and mint. It
was one of the first drinks I ever had because I loved Family Guy when I was a kid, and there's the thing where Brian, I think he's on The Bachelor or something, and he's like, the bartender made me a mojito, and then he takes a long drink and goes, I don't think it's a gay drink. Mojito.
It's not. It's a good drink. It's a nice, refreshing drink during the summertime.
No, it's fantastic.
My cat's trying to eat my bird right now. Sorry.
I feel like we should finish with the Irish car bomb, which of course this is going to have a weird story to it. An Irish car bomb is made by dropping a shot of Irish cream, like Bailey's, and whiskey, usually Jameson, into a glass of stout, preferably Guinness. The drink was created by Charles Burke Cronin Oates at Wilson's Saloon in Connecticut in 1979. The name was inspired by the small explosion caused by dropping the shot glass into the pint, though it has been the subject of controversy because some tie it to the IRA's 1972 attack against Northern Ireland, so the Troubles, where more than 20 car bombs were detonated in Belfast. Whatever you do, don't order one.
Yeah, they get really upset over there, I've heard.
That's
so
understandable.
When you order that. That's kind of like culturally insensitive to order that there.
Yeah.
Don't do that. That's like ordering a 9/11 here, which isn't a drink, but like
somebody invented
if somebody
9/11.
made up with a drink and called it 9/11, we probably, deservedly be pissed off,
Yeah.
So.
Or,
real quick, I want to read the mezcal for Zaragoza real quick. The mezcal, sometimes spelled MESKAL or CAL, is a distilled alcoholic beverage made from any type of agave, which is real popular in margaritas. If you get like a legitimate margarita, it's gonna have agave in it, not like a cheap one, probably made at your house or already made and bought at the store. Agaves are maguey's are endemic to the Americas and found globally as ornamental plant. Almost said a different word. Native fermented drinks from maguey plants, such as pulque, existed before the. Where the fuck is this? The ingredients to this and the history and everything.
While you're figuring that out, I have a little story. So a bar I used to go to in LA that doesn't exist anymore called Karma Lounge. Shout out Alice if you're out there listening. But she was the bartender there, and like they had shows and open mics and stuff, and I used to go there a lot. She made a drink called a Netflix and Chill, which kind of does the same thing as the Irish Car Bomb, where it was like dropping a shot of Irish cream into something. And I can't remember what it was, and neither can she, but
it better be a chilled glass.
It was a chilled glass with something red, like some kind of
maybe.
It had to have had grenadine or something with cherries, but the idea was the shot glass is the chill, and you drop it into Netflix, and then that's the Netflix and Chill.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, but I don't know what goes in it. Anytime if
it's black. It would have to probably be like a spiced rum.
Maybe.
Like a black rum. So that's the only kind of thing I can think of. Except for maybe, what is it? A Black Russian? Which I don't remember what's in that.
I've had a White Russian. Those are good.
There's varying differences between a White Russian and a Black Russian. It's got vodka in it, I believe. Yeah. But my mom just told me Black Russian has coffee in it. It could be coffee. Okay. Although I think Netflix and Chill kind of implies that you don't want to stay up. Maybe you do want to stay up all night.
Maybe it had some caffeine in it. I don't know. Right. I can't remember, but it was delicious.
Okay, so pulque, a fermented drink from agave sap, is pre-colonial. This is mezcal, by the way. But the distillation of agave heart juice into mezcal was only introduced in the colonial era when Filipino sailors and migrants brought the technology of Filipino-type stills with them during the galleon trade between Mexico and the Philippines. Oh, that makes sense. I always wondered why so many like Filipinos had like Hispanic like last names, and that makes. I didn't know they had like a whole like trading thing going on.
That makes sense, yeah. And then also like where you have a large, Hispanic population in California, like the West Coast and stuff, and the U.S. has a long history in the Philippines.
Right. That I did know, but I never really put two and two together.
We gotta get my history professor on here as a guest and have him talk about that, because I think that would be cool. The Philippines was a Spanish colony, yes, because it was named for King Philip.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
we'll have to do like a Philippines episode.
Hawkins, if you're listening, invitations open, maybe.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah. So, yeah, this was a cool one. I think it was like less on the actual story, the way it was with Martin Luther, but more about just like the culture. I think it's
right. Well, I mean, like I said, there wasn't a lot of story. I had to fish for that. I was like, we should do mixology, not knowing that it was going to be super hard to find anything out. And then I'm like looking, I'm like, okay, where the fuck? I'm on like page 16 on Google.
Yeah, I think because it's like not for something like this where you can't really trace it to one person. It's a worldwide culture that everyone kind of participates in, drinking, and
for the record, the cocktail was invented here in America,
in St. Louis.
And the cocktail party was invented here in St. Louis. The cocktail was invented on a farm. It didn't really say where.
All right. Well, St. Louis, good for you for inventing something worthwhile.
Right. A party where everybody's drunk? Come on, that goes back to Mesopotamia.
Oh,
Let's be real. St. Louis just wants to feel special.
But the cocktail part, I'm guessing where you like have little finger sandwiches and you're all dressed up.
Right.
That's what I think they're getting at there.
All the unnecessary shit. It's just ass fat. That's just trans fat of partying. You know what I mean?
Trans fat of partying.
Not necessary.
Christ. So.
Well, I think that's it, man.
Yeah. Plugs?
Oh, yeah. So definitely catch me. Where are the banners, brands, and like is the overlays? Catch me tomorrow on Hammer and Cheese. We're gonna do a couple of different kinds of curry dishes.
Nice. What kind of curry? Why am I saying that?
So I'm doing a special surprise one that because I was told that I could choose my protein, and I'm going to piss everybody off. But the guest we have on, I don't remember who our guest is. Dino knows. But she's going to make shrimp curry.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shrimp curry.
And honestly, that takes me back to my roots because little do anybody know, I was actually a sous chef of a Thai food restaurant. So.
That's dope.
Yeah. So I'm actually pretty. I don't like curry, so I don't like it. It's not good. But it's whatever. I'm
a curry fan.
Also, I think earlier today, we probably missed out already. Life of Giants with our boys Dino and Kyle. Dino is my co-host with Hammer and Cheese, and Kyle does a bunch of different other stuff with us.
Dino is my co-host on Generation Dan too. So.
Oh, I was gonna plug in just a second.
That's okay.
This Saturday I'm gonna do my slowly blowing up show, the greatest goddamn show in the on air with my sister, and then later that evening, every other weekend meals with my son, and then obviously back to what Atlas was just saying. I don't know, I'm fucking up names right now. Go ahead and plug it.
Cool. So we got Generation Dan, new episodes every Friday. I was supposed to record back on Sunday, but Dina was having some internet trouble, so we'll probably record the Thursday afternoon. We stream the recordings, but not everyone's going to be there for them. So yeah, come check it out with Jan Karam, who's a LA-based comic, as our guest.
Oh yeah.
It was pretty cool. I did a show with her at the store a few weeks ago. And my other podcast, Nexus at Night, which is about the trading card game Card Fight Vanguard. One of our co-hosts, Root Beer, is in Japan right now, so it's just me and Matt, and we're hanging out, doing stuff, and yeah, follow me here at Atlas Novak in all the places. So,
and you can follow me at SniffGlue22 on all platforms. Thank you guys. Peace out.
pay your mercenaries.
Pay your mercenaries.